Well, Kim, it's really nice to see you again, even though it's virtual.
Yeah, nice to see you.
So you're with our Washington National Tax Group, and you were just telling me about podcasting and what you're doing there. Tell me a bit more about that.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, like we were kind of sitting around trying to figure out how to get out to clients, right? I mean, we obviously can't fly around anymore. And just the Teams thing was hard, right? It's wonderful, but it's limited, and it's very, very limited having what I would call kind of like a real interactive conversation. Like Teams is a little bit like one person talks and there's a pause, and then someone else talks and there's a pause. And honestly, like I kind of needed to indulge myself a little bit, because I'd look at people and I'd be like, gosh, I heard that person talk during a meeting. I'd love to get a little bit more time with that person and explore and maybe ask a couple of really stupid questions, or whatnot, just like we would do around the water cooler, but you just can't anymore. And so Courtney Wallace and I were talking about it one day, and she had just mentioned that on her walk she had heard, she has a regular podcast series that she listens to, and I said, gee, I do too. I'd never listened to podcasts before now, and we looked at each other and we're like, I wonder how hard it would be to do a podcast. And it, and then next thing you know, kind of the idea was born. And again, totally self-indulgent. So, you call up someone in Mexico, because Mexico's been a big, big focus of a lot of developments that people, like, their heads are exploding. And you call up like Armando Lara and you say, hey, can I chat with you about this? And you ask whatever stream of consciousness questions come to mind. It's a truly interesting conversation. And just in a way that you wouldn't be able to have normally. Normally, you would before COVID-19, but you just can't have nowadays. And supposed to be chatty, supposed to be free-flowing. So I love it. So we've done several episodes now. I think we've recorded 5. We've done like, I don't know, the first one we did is like Mexican deduction disallowance. Then we did something on the Biden tax proposals, which a lot of people do, but then we got to ask crazy questions about, well, he doesn't say anything about Pete. What's up with that? Or, do you think Biden will continue this whole retaliatory tariff thing? I mean, just completely out of left field. And Chimigliano's like, sure, no, yes, I think it's yes, and we get to get, and like we just fun. It's just fun. But that has been kind of our little outreach project, I think.
Well, it's kind of interesting, because I'm kind of with you. When I first thought about podcasts a while ago, I thought, have we moved on from that? Is that old technology? But it is surprising, right? It does give you this richer type of conversation that you can have, that people can sort of be listening in from behind the wall almost.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I'm like a techno hobbit, right? I mean, I love hobbits, but but I cannot work my TV, right? And so when this first happened, I was a little bit afraid of the technology.
Yep.
And finally, but we have a really great crew at the KPMG tax studios, and they just said to him, just imagine you're talking to people on the phone, which I actually kind of miss. We never call anyone anymore. It's all this computer thing. And I think, like, if you're on the phone, like, you can talk over each other and you can actually have this like natural conversation instead of me talk, pause, you talk, pause, I think we get more of that dynamic, and I love it. I just have such a really good time. But we ought to have you on at some point. We got to figure out what you got to talk about, but.
Well, maybe. But so you're referencing that you've done a number of these. Would you say like 5, half a dozen or so? What are the sorts of topics you've been covering?
So it's like tax and trade developments.
Yep.
That would affect kind of on a big picture basis, cross-border developments.
Got it.
So we don't do anything that would necessarily like affect a particular line of your tax return. In part because, again, think self-indulgent. I just don't talk about that, right? So,
right.
So we had the trade guys on in response to a conversation that we had with Jim Migliano, where we're like, I don't know, Biden, retaliatory tax, is he going to be very Trumpian in that respect? And he's like, I don't know, and we chatted about it. So then next thing you know, we have the trade people on, and we say, hey, retaliatory tariffs versus DSTs. How cool is that? Can that actually happen under USMCA? And they're like, I don't know, right? So next thing you know, we're basically staging this like virtual cage match between the US guys on the one hand, then we get a Mexican indirect tax guy, Antonio Oswald, on the other hand. And they're like not in real time. And so, but they're kind of going, these guys think this guy thinks this, and so I don't know. I don't even know if I've answered your question, but
no, I think you have. So you're going to have to send me the link to the page where I can.
I definitely will. Yeah.
That makes me sound old. And did you say they're on Spotify as well?
I think so. So KPMG Tax Radio, we've got our own platform, but then I think you can get these like Spotify, like I think you can download from iTunes, like the Apple Store, that kind of thing. And, like, much to my children's horror. Horror. They're so embarrassed by this whole thing, but of course they're free. And so, hopefully they're interesting to people. And as long as people don't can like call up and say, Kim, please, like my children, you're embarrassing us. We're just going to continue to take what we think of as kind of the interesting, like water cooler conversations that aren't a presentation, but, just, hey, like, let me ask you a stupid question. And then maybe you stumble onto a smart question eventually. Yeah. That's the kind of conversation we want to have.
And I think your point's right? It's a way of replacing what we had before all this.
Yeah.
So, well, I am going to have to get that link from you, Kim.
Definitely.
And then I really look forward to listening to these, and maybe I'll join in one time.
You definitely will. You can count on it. Thank you so much, Rodney.
Okay. Nice catching up with you, Kim.
Nice catching up with you.